Well, good Friday evening to you. How is everyone out there? It's good to see you. It's good to be seen by you. I hope you are doing absolutely wonderful. I sincerely hope you are doing very well. I, of course, am Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver. And, well, you guys are my audience. And whether you are returning or whether you're a new subscriber just joined up tonight, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. And I hope you've had an absolutely fantastic week. We did it. We made it to Friday. We made it to Friday, and I couldn't be happier. Greetings, Dungeon Minister, Winter Wolf, Robert Phillips. Winter Wolf says, back with a fountain drink, playing some Final Fantasy XIV and waiting for the live stream. Thank you, Winter Wolf. Dave L. Good to see you. Intro reminds you of Heart, Dream of the Archer. Gamma World. Yes, we will be playing Gamma World First Edition. That starts at 9:30. We've got a little bit of classic D&D and some kind of vintage comic book fun that we're going to engage in. Now, I should have slotted 2 hours before Gamma World tonight. But I thought about it, that would have been like a 4-hour show, 4 or possibly 5-hour show. Good evening, Beth. Good to see you. That, by the way, in case you missed me mentioning this before in several tales, is not just my sister, that's half of my AD&D group. Well, D&D group, back when I first started playing D&D. But yeah, so we're going to talk about Ghost Tower of Inverness tonight, and we're going to talk about a vintage comic that I had some recollection of, and I was like, did I really see that? And then I found out about it. And in my pursuits, let's just jump right into it. Let's leave nothing to chance time-wise. We're already 3 minutes in 57 minutes. Before Gamma World begins. So, back in the 1980s, not too far from here, in fact, I remember going into a local comic shop, and man, is there a backstory there? There is a Breaking Bad-esque backstory behind that place, but that's for another time. But so let me set the background for you. In the 1980s, independent comic books were really starting to flourish. Offset press and so on was kind of getting to where you could do small batch runs and print your own stuff and it not look too bad. And out of this burst in the late 70s, early 80s of creativity, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And boys and girls, I'm here to tell you, TMNT was not a kid's comic back in the day, insofar as any kid's comic is. It wasn't like heavy metal, where it's just straight up, oh, look, there's two people having sex. But it was violent, lots of profanity. It was not the, high C juice box and lunch pail and backpack and video game franchise that we know it as now. It was an independent comic by Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. I still have one of their comics from back in the day called Fugitoid, which is not worth the paper it's printed on. But Fugitoid was interesting too because it actually, in its second issue, features a crossover with the Turtles. There were a bunch of independent comics. A big one out of Canada was Cerberus the Aardvark by Dave Sim, who I think is probably certifiably crazy. And the art was crazily good. It was by a fellow, is it Thomas Gerhard? I could be wrong. But you know, the thing about Cerebrus, there was no entry point. There was no entry point. Dave Sim built the entrance in 1980, and if you weren't there and or possessed of a lot of money and free time, you were not getting into Cerberus. There were no, I'll go on the internet and read summaries and get caught up. I'll buy the trade paperbacks and get caught up. You either started at issue 1, because despite its outward appearance, and indeed Sim's intention going forward, it was not a fantasy, it was not a furry fantasy comic. So, but here's the interesting thing. With my monthly dose of comic books, X-Men, West Coast Avengers, Star Wars, some of those independent titles, I would get, sometimes I'd buy it at the newsstand, sometimes I would buy it at the comic store, but I would get a copy of comic book price guide. Is it the comic book price guide or something like that? And it was industry news in the front, comic prices in the back, and it was updated monthly. And of course, like way back then, like Superman, I think this Adventure Comics #1 was $35,000 back in like 1982, 83. I mean, now that millions of dollars. Like the first appearance of Spider-Man was priced at like $2,500. I mean, can you imagine? X-Men Annual 1 was like $600 back then. A mullet of comic book news. Exactly, Dungeon Minister. That I love that. I love that comparison. So myself and a few others, mostly it was me. I would chase the next big thing. I would look for independent books that were coming out and grab that first issue. Well, Rover, I don't do comic books anymore. This is all history, but anyway. Because I wanted to find like the key investment. I wanted to find the comic book whose price would skyrocket and I could be rich. Like the first print run of TMNT, I remember was like $300 or $400 just a few years after it came out. So I always had my eye on the independent stuff. Marvel was not going to really, like if Marvel dropped something, although I will tell a bit of a funny story too about that. But at the time, I felt like if Marvel released something, it was not going to be big. Like a #1, like you could tell when a superhero comic was going to go off the rails and not be that good. Hello, Power Pack. The one exception that like I actually owned a now highly valued comic was when in 86, 85, 84, when Marvel did Secret Wars, the first run of Secret Wars with the Beyonder and like nascent unicorn hunting, Robert. But with the Beyonder and the superheroes fighting it out, you can get the entire run of Secret Wars if you go out and buy individual issues on eBay or out of the racks at your local comic shop. You can find those early issues, all the issues, 11 of the 12 issues of Secret Wars for cover price. They were like 75 cents, and that's what you'll pay today. Except for #8. Number 8 was when Peter Parker used an alien replicator device to make himself a new costume when his got destroyed fighting Doctor Doom in Secret Wars on Battleworld. That is the first appearance of the black and white Spider-Man costume that would become known as Venom, because he dialed up an alien symbiote and started wearing it around because the computer was like, okay, so you're a predator, you drink blood, yeah, I think I pretty much got what you want. So, and he didn't realize it at the time. It was just a cool, it was just a cool alternate Spider-Man costume. That one, just depending on condition, is worth, it's worth like, I've seen it quoted at like $7,500. So for briefly, when I was a kid, and I bought that copy in the Keys, we were in the Keys with a youth group and stopped at a convenience store, and it had come out like the week we were down there, and I was like, oh, I'll pick this up. Carefully packed it in my suitcase, and it made it home, and I had the full run. Anyway, so I did have one very expensive comic, and it did come from Marvel. But while I was at this local comic shop, I saw something that caught my eye because, hey, I'm a D&D fantasy nerd, right? I saw like the second or third issue of this comic called ELFLORD. Not ElfQuest, ELFLORD. And it looked bad enough to be a really kick-ass independent comic. But the issue that I saw was like issue 3 or 4. I did a little bit of research into it. And apparently they had a first print run. It looked really good. But here's the thing. Back then, if your comic shop's distributor didn't have the comic, you didn't get the comic. If they had back issues, awesome. You'd get a back issue. I mean, nowadays, I go down to Gods and Monsters. I want issue 192 of the Uncanny X-Men from 1980, whenever. Todd will find me one that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. Cha-ching. Or I can go on eBay. Sometimes even Amazon. People sell comics on Amazon. So, back then, you know, so I saw it, filed it away mentally, and just continued on. A couple of weeks ago, and periodically I would think about it like, yeah, you know. I said, you know, whatever happened to that? That seemed so independent. And I did some Googling, and lo and behold, I find out that the print run, like second printing of the first edition books, is really accessible. So I got volume 1, which is a complete story that spans 6 issues of the comic. I picked up on eBay for $15 shipped. And I have them here. I will, let's see here. ELFLORD. Like I said, it looks bad enough to be really worth something. And then there's a few other issues. I haven't taken those off of that card. They're in a poly bag, but there's like 3 issues together. So I thought for $15 it would be worth picking up to see, is it a good fantasy story? Is it a bad fantasy story? And despite its age, it's not unobtainium. If it turns out this really kicks ass and it's an awesome story, you know, I can tell you guys about it, and you can run and get yourself a get yourself a set of the first volume. Because I was always on the hunt for stuff that might scratch my D&D itch. Now, here's a couple of funny things that I found out. My very first thought when I was a kid, now you'd have to be living under a rock to not know about ElfQuest from Wendy and Richard Panay, Warp Graphics. My very first thought was, oh, they're just trying to cash in on ElfQuest, whoever did this. This had actually been kicking around before ElfQuest as a supremely independent comic. In Canada, the first issues published are very valuable because Guy was going to print shops. They were comb bound. You know, like later copies of Chainmail, they were comb bound and printed in black and white. Those are worth hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars to collectors. The artist, the creator of the comic, and my goodness, this is tiny printed, and I can't, you know what, here, hang on a second. We have the internet. I don't have to do the tiny iStrano vision trick. Let me see here. So Barry Blair and Patrick McCone are the people who created this. And it was scripted by Bruce Blair. So as I was digging into it, as I was digging into the history and finding out and seeing if I could get at least one issue to talk about without having to mortgage the house, I found out that actually in the very, was it in the 2000s or was it in the 90s? I think it must have been in the 90s. I gave up on ElfQuest and all that stuff back when I was, I just didn't care about it anymore. I gave away the trade paperbacks and everything like that. Warp Graphics, don't care. It's kind of like a D&D fantasy thing. The orcs and trolls and goblins are making life hard for the elves. But I found out that Barry Blair actually worked with Wendy and Richard Panay, or Pini, however you say it, and did some inks and did some art for an ElfQuest spin-off storyline. So that's an interesting piece of cross-pollination. One of the super duper expensive and rare copies of this in the comb binding is in a literal like blink and you'll miss it moment in an episode of You Can't Do That on TV. If you guys remember that on Nickelodeon, one of the characters is sitting on stage. I think it's Moose. She's sitting on stage reading a copy and then closes it and is kind of doing the, gesture around with it. And then it sort of goes out of shot. And finally, the title of the company now, Aircel. That sounds pretty cool. It's a high-tech kind of thing. Does it conjure up these ideas of Jean Giraud's airtight garage and cell animation? Sounds pretty neat, right? As it happens, as it happens, in the late 70s and early 80s, the Canadian government was basically giving huge grants, not huge, Hugh Grant, giving money to companies that would insulate and put central air and heating into homes. They were subsidizing companies that did that. So they were getting paid by the homeowner. They were getting paid by the government. And the government was subsidizing their materials they needed. Well, all this came to a stop in 81 or 82. And a central air conditioning company, Aircel, was about to go out of business. And Barry Blair knew the guy whose air conditioning company it was and said, wait a minute. You've already got a business set up. You've got offices. You've got bank accounts. Just become a comic book publisher and publish my comic, The Samurai and ELFLORD, or comics, plural, The Samurai and ELFLORD. So we got Aircel Publishing. They got purchased by Malibu along with ELFLORD. And then whatever happened to Malibu happened to Malibu. So that's just a little bit of history. And one other thing, like if you know about this and you're sitting there, whether you're watching this video later or whether you're sitting out there in the audience right now biting your tongue because you don't want to cause a conundrum. What I was not aware of at the time, and I literally found this out the other night when I bought these. Apparently the creator Barry Blair, until he passed away, among many people in the comics industry, was kind of a pariah because he did porn comics, fetish comics. I'm not going to moralize about it. I'm not really going to bring it up either way. Probably just got this stream demonetized saying that. But yeah, apparently he kind of got semi-blacklisted in the industry. Now, one thing I can tell you about the Panais, about the ElfQuest series, is they would stray into some pretty racy stuff from time to time. So they did not have a problem working with Barry Blair, apparently. So that's what I found out. Story and art and all that, we're going to do a proper review of, but I got them in today. And I want to tell you, like, if the art appeals to you, like if this, like, I love this cover. I'm going to put this back up on the screen. This is worth stopping and looking at. This is like almost a Warhammer meets D&D ethos as far as the art goes. Bring that back. Sorry for the shimmer on it there, but that to me is just is really nice. And like, if that just grabs you, if you're like, I want some of that. Again, this is not like a white box OD&D set or a wood grain or a true first print Monster Man. It's not unobtainium. Whole run of the first volume of 6 issues, which I think this was probably a bi-monthly, so that's a year's worth. $15 shipped off of eBay. So we'll get into an actual review. I'll read these and maybe do some scans and pull out some stuff, and we'll do a review of them, and we'll really dive in if that's something you guys want to do. But I think it's a pretty fascinating subject, and I can dig up some more history. And the reason is, I mean, this is not a comic streaming channel. We had somebody, what is this? M3 M3 Rover, which I get, is that a car? It sounds like a car. Anyway, was like, well, I don't do comics. And he yeeted out. Hopefully you'll come back for Gamble World tonight, M3 Rover. I'm not a comic streaming guy. I'm not your boy Zach. I'm not Razor Fist or anything like that. You know, I'm not going to stray off into comics. But it looks, like I said, looking through the issue that I did when I was a kid, it's kind of started to scratch the D&D itch a little bit. But because it was mid-stride of the story and I couldn't get the back issues, I never got into it. So D&D applicability might be kind of low. One thing I can tell you, though, that we're going to look at, because they're really cool to look at for anything, is like there's an ad. Is it in the back of issue 2? Yeah. Okay. MapleCon 8, Science Fiction and Comic Book Convention, Holiday Inn, Market Square, Ottawa, Canada, July 11th, 12th, and 13th, 1986. Presented by Ottawa Fandom Incorporated. Get ready for 3 days of magic, says the ill-proportioned sorcerer's lady. Just ill-proportioned, like, you know, not great drawing. Guess they had Stephen R. Donaldson, Phil Foglio, writers and artists from Matrix and Aircel Comics. Panels, 24-hour video gaming, art show, costume competition, get cosplay, 3 dances, autographs, dealer's room, and more. Reserve your room now. And that is the princely sum of 55 Canadian per night, depending on room, as high as 72. So, like I said, we'll look at it. We'll look at some of those ads, and we'll find out if ELFLORD has anything to offer us D&Ders. Now, interestingly, and I'll say this in closing, because we're gonna look some more at C2 now. I must carefully handle my comic books. Interestingly, the comic is like, I was shocked by this. I was like, there's no like common thread. Somebody just picked up on the name ELFLORD because it sounded cool, right? But no, at least up until the early 2000s, it actually kind of, it sort of continued and then went silent again. And then a few issues would come out and go silent again. But as the years went on, as often happens with comics, art style changed. And the last few runs of it, whoever was doing it was dipping deep into the weeaboo stuff. So it turned almost into an American imitation of a manga, of a Japanese comic. I have to lay out a book of what's new for myself. Foglio's work was Phil Foglio was awesome. That was one of the joys of reading the Dawning Starblaze editions of the Myth Inc. adventures back when I was a kid, was getting new Phil Foglio art. I mean, you could get paperbacks from Ace, Doubleday, at the Sci-Fi book club copy of the first 3 or 4 volumes. But man, the Dawning Starblaze with the Phil Foglio art was awesome. And then Warp Graphics Monthly, which lasted for like 5 issues, 6 issues, had the first 2 or 3 serializations of the Myth stories in comic book form, drawn by Foglio. So anyway, we're done talking about comics. M3 Scout or whatever, you can come back in the room now, please. Please do. Please. Does it please you? Do you find the content pleasing? Are you excited by it? Anyway. Foglio was doing some naughty things too. Oh, yeah. Phil's stuff showed up in a lot of places. You know, I was a big fan. I just said we're done with comics. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible liar. I was a big fan of an automotive-themed Mad Magazine-esque comic called Cartoons. It was put out by Peterson Publishing, the same company that put out Hot Rod Magazine and a bunch of others. They did Cartoons. And Cartoons was great. I had a hefty stack of Cartoons magazine as a kid. Loved Cartoons. And George Trosley, Crass and Bernie. They were two hot rodding dudes who would fall into hilarious adventures month in and month out. And I found out that, well, George also did comics for Hustler, Penthouse, less savory adult magazines. So, yeah. Anyway, now we're done with comics. We've gone 2 minutes over. Let's get back to talking about C2, the Ghost Tower of Inverness. What a transition. I am sure Alan Hammock is so happy to be cheek to jowl with that conclusion. Anyway, Ghost Tower of Inverness. We were looking at the characters and what they could potentially buy. And we kind of touched on like why that's a no-no to try and replicate in a campaign AD&D game. Although, relatively speaking, these aren't really buying these items. I heard it from an older boy. His name was Todd. Anyway. You shouldn't... you should not use these in your campaign, but they are just leased by the Sage. So, like, even if you buy the +3 plate mail, I think, you're just like, just put it all on the fighter. Get him the +3 sword, get him the +2 plate mail, put him in front, we'll cope. Which is dumb with a capital D, but all that's got to go back to the Sage when it's over and done. So it's not like this is unearned. So we looked at the characters and we're gonna, let's see, can I do this without, okay, there we go. It's back up on. All right. Share. Why do you make it so hard? Share. And share. All right. So let's look at some of the more interesting encounters. Let's just jump on over into the Ghost Tower. Or, okay, do you guys want to look more at the ruins? The dungeon level, the towers, or do you want to jump straight into the Ghost Tower? What do you guys want to do? How do we want to do this? Magic items are always... Well, how do you mean that, Dave L? Tell me how you mean that. Maybe we can come together as a community and stop the constant death of Dave's campaigns. Dave, have you heard of Rust Monsters and Disenchanters, my dude? Have you heard of Rust Monsters and Disenchanters? Have you heard of Rust Monsters and Disenchanters? You look that big old DM in the eye and you say, yes, sir, I have. Oh, we need to rotate. Rotate the view. Rotate it clockwise. There we go. and the players expect the next better thing a few weeks later. Well, I mean, it's fixed, Damien, but thank you for catching that. I mean, make them appreciate what they have. You know, dispel magic's a thing. Disenchanters are a thing. Rust monsters are a thing. Remember, magic items like Hill Giant throws a boulder at the fighter wearing plate. Save versus crushing blow. Even for hard metal, it could happen. And when you look the player in the eye and you say, that giant just threw a boulder at you and you took it. Roll the d20 for your shield and roll the d20 for your sword and roll the d20 for your armor. What am I doing? You're saving versus crushing blow. They'll appreciate what they have. They will appreciate what they have. I promise you, Dave. I promise you. You are the DM. You giveth and you taketh away. Don't let your players master your campaign. You are the dungeon master. You are the master of the campaign. I mean, you know, a lot of DMs have weaned their characters off and helped them appreciate things by just going cold turkey. Hey, guess what? There's one magic item. It's a long tooth dagger, and it's in the king's belt. And it is legendary, and nobody's getting it. Now, I'm not one of those guys who's like, you know, your character should be happy to have a rusty nail driven through a stick to fight with. Oh, you stepped outside the inn? Roll to save versus typhus. Armor? Pfft, right. Maybe you can hang a board around your neck. I am not like that, okay? Much. But make your players appreciate what they get. And if it means tough love to save your campaign, brother, you got to do it. You got to do what you got to do. All right? Now, you don't let your campaigns stumble and fall. Just because your players want to walk around festooned like a bunch of Christmas trees. Have I run campaigns where players have gotten a lot of magic items? Yes. But they earned them and they appreciated them. They didn't treat that like, oh, +1 dagger, who cares about that? That's garbage. I use that to cut my steak. That's how you buy henchman and hireling loyalty. Because guess what? At a long-running game, 2 men-at-arms were left after years of adventuring. They had +1 chainmail, +1 long swords. One of them had a +2 shield. The other one had a +1 dagger. Make your players appreciate it, Dave. And make them earn it. They want more magic items? Absolutely. You know what? Right on. More magic items are more fun, right? There's a big pile sitting right under that huge ancient red dragon, her mate, and their 2 hatchlings. Go get it. Go on. It's right at the top of the mountain. We can have a wilderness run. Oh, you're happy with your +1 sword, your potion of healing, and your scroll with a couple of magic user spells on it for the time being. Great. And if they leave your table, Dave, just because you won't back a dump truck full of magic items up to their yard and empty it out, that's not your fault, brother. That's not your fault. Your campaign is not to blame, Dave. You're not a bad DM. Your players' expectations are what are screwed up. And that goes back to Ghost Tower. This Seer and Roebuck. That stuff is for rent, not to keep. You are quite welcome, sir. I seek to foster good play of classic Dungeons and Dragons wherever I go. If moving forward, you or anyone else out there can take that advice and it makes your game better, I'm happy. Let's get back to the keeps. It looks like the few votes we had were for the ruins. So we're going to talk about the ruins, the dungeon level specifically. So we've kind of looked at some of these. We talked about the keys. We've talked about wandering monsters, the stasis bugbears, and that beautiful, beautiful Jim Rosseloff drawing. Gotta love Jim Rosseloff's work. We've got a manticore here in the rubble room. Hey, Fred! Oh, wrong rubble. The crystal pedestal. The room is 30 feet square, the ceiling 10 feet high. A door is in the center of the opposite wall. In the center of the room is a 3-foot tall crystal pedestal with an 8-foot diameter crystal ball on top of it. There are engravings on the pedestal, and there seem to be movement within the ball. Upon examining it more closely, you see that there are 4 different but unidentifiable shapes moving around inside the crystal ball. The engravings on the pedestal are 4 unfamiliar words. So we have another gambit here offered by our friend, Mr. Hammock. The south door will not open until at least 4 figures have been released from the ball by the method described hereafter. The ball and the pedestal, the ball and the pedestal are absolutely immobile, impervious to physical force. The pedestal and ball may be detected as magical. The words have no exact meaning other as triggers for releasing creatures, therefore comprehend languages and other related spells do not or will not give any clues to the secret of the ball. And here's what you get when you say the words Ixam, carnivorous ape, ook ook, for my co-host. Alrastil, ice toad. Alrastil. I was on Alrastil when I was a kid to help treat my acne. Pentuco, Minotaur, Merg, owlbear. Now, I like this. The reward for this is very handy. If exactly one of each type of creature is released from the ball will shrink and become a magical crystal ball, no additional powers, and may be removed from the pedestal. So let's, you know what, I'm going to see. This PDF is kind of strangely arranged, but the book is kind of strangely laid out too. So I'm looking, let's see, Upper Ruins map. So dungeon level map, so 10. So we just left 9. 7, 8, which was optional. And there's 9 and room 10 right over here, room 10. Now remember, you're not going to progress. Like here, if we go from room 8, that leads us to area 14 and then into the central room where you start scaling up the inside of the tower. 6 can go straight to 14. So this isn't a direct progression. But let's look at room 10. Come on. The tunnel room. 30 by 50, 20-foot high ceiling. 10-foot wide passage continues from the center of the south wall. 4 irregularly shaped tunnels open into the room, northeast, north, northwest, and southeast walls. Each is roughly cut out of the rock and about 8 feet tall. Between 2 tunnels in the northwest corner of the room is a large chest of iron secured with a lock. And this, if you recall, was one of Alan's favorite rooms. This is such a great illustration. Such a great illustration of an Umber Hulk from Jeff D. there. Really one of the better ones. The party has 1 round in which to investigate the chest. It's not locked. 7,000 gold pieces, 4,000 silver, a flat piece of metal. That's a key. If time is spent in the room, read the following to the players. I think something terrible is about to happen. You hear a rumbling sound from the southwest. It sounds like huge quantities of earth falling into the room. Perhaps it is a cave-in. Any character who turns to look at the source has looked at an Umber Hulk. And you describe it as a tall, yellowish-brown creature with beetle-like mandibles. Say versus confusion. And then roll a d10. And then we've got an Umber Hulk. An underbite? I think it has a sideways bite. Note that until a 1 is rolled, confused characters must re-roll their actions each round using the table above until the DM informs them they are no longer confused. Any character confronting the Umber Hulk will fight at -4 from not looking or must make a saving throw before each round of attacks. The Umber Hulk will not retreat and will fight to the death, but will not pursue a party out of the room. If characters flee the encounter, it will return to one of the 5 tunnels determined at random and burrow into the room in a new spot, DM's option, if the party returns. In tournament play, it's got fixed attacks, fixed damage. Yeah, I think it's got more of a sideways bite than an underbite. So optional room 10 has a bead curtain. Remember Wendy's had the bead curtains? They look like they're like these plastic gems. Their colors strongly red and yellow, and they had those tables with the old-timey newspaper ads covering the. I know you loved to read them. I did too, back when I was a kid. The curtain blocks sight and sound from this side and may only be destroyed magically. A character may pass it by force, but only by running through it at full speed. The chance of its parting is the same as that character's chance for opening doors. If the curtain does not part, upon charging, the character will take 1 to 6 points of damage. Upon bursting through, there's a base 50% chance of stumbling and falling, modified by dexterity +5 per point, less than 9, or -5, greater than 12. And the monsters therein, coming out of passages, bugbears, ogres, and gargoyles. With 16 hit points for the bugbears, 22 hit points each for the ogres, and 26 for each of the gargoyles. I almost thought it was 60 HP for the gargoyles, but thank goodness it ain't. We have the cubicle room. And this is where you got to break out the chess set. I don't know. And this is not, by the way, the chess room is not an optional room. It is not optional. So the corridor ends in a wall lined with 5 cubicles. Each has a human-shaped indentation in it, surrounded by scrollwork and other ancient carvings. No traps can be detected here, although the successful find traps will indicate the presence of something mechanical in nature. When a character steps into a cubicle back against a stone, metal bands will spring out. Why would you do that? Why would you ever do that? Why? Metal bands will spring out from the sides of the indentation and quickly pin the wrists and ankles. The stone cubicle will pivot, and the character will be carried along a narrow passageway to a room. Each cubicle will travel rapidly along its passageway, arriving in the appropriately numbered square in room 13. Character B activates cubicle B, will end up in the square B. The metal bands will disappear, and the square the character is standing on will glow a bright white light. The 5 cubicles will work simultaneously, or they may be operated individually. Each cubicle only travels one way until the room is crossed, but if the statue in the room is touched or passed, the cubicles may be operated in the same manner to return the character. And there you go. So everybody can get turned into a statue. And then you start, let's see, and they're scoring for the room. And then you have the chess room. I'm sorry, that was the 5 cubicles. But the chess room is part of the same. The dungeon minister part is ambushed by Whitesnake. It forces, okay, so this is what happens when you go into the chess room. It forces you out onto a 5x5 square that glows with a cold white light. The other squares in this 40x40 room are gray, blue, green, and yellow. In the center of the far wall is a 10-foot wide passageway. In the front of the opening, straddling 2 squares, stands an intricately detailed statue of a handsome man, 7 feet tall, wearing a richly jeweled crown. His left hand is resting on the hilt of a long sword, and his right arm is outstretched, palm down towards the center of the east wall, as if in greeting or in mourning. Metal bands. Oh. Wow. Okay. Yikes. I can't believe I... Whoo! And it's from here you basically have to play chess. And I'm going to get into this. Okay, we're going to fully dissect this, but we're kind of coming up. It ain't my fault this time, Dungeon Minister. It ain't my fault. You blame that on Damien. Oh, excuse me. My show is just that good. It's almost putting me to sleep. Whitesnake sounds like it could be a D&D monster. You know, when it came out, I loved the song Still of the Night so much I bought that stinking album. I played the hell out of that tune, but that was it. Anyway, to move on. We're going to pick the module up here. I said we would probably finish tonight. Clearly that didn't happen because we talked a little bit about the independent comic book. But I at least want to look at the chess game. So we're going to leave it on a bit of a cliffhanger there for tonight. And we're going to be getting into some Gamma World here very soon. Let me see here. Let me see. Gotta make sure folks know about the Gamma World. Just had to notify. So anyway, speaking of folks, I do want to take a minute here because this is important. If you're new to the channel, if you're just stopping by for the first time and you're like, hey, what is all this about? This is what we do. This is what we do 5 nights a week, pretty much, as we talk about classic role-playing games. Occasionally we veer off a little bit and talk about other things, but we talk about the geeky stuff that we like, the geeky stuff that we love. So if you're just coming here, if for whatever reason YouTube washed this up on your shore and you're like, what is this? What do I do with this? Please click that subscribe button and that bell icon for notification if you like what you see. If you really like what you see, give it a thumbs up and tell us what you liked, and we'll keep doing it. If you didn't like what you saw, give it a thumbs down and tell us what you didn't like, and we'll change it up. We can do that. We do the voodoo that we do so well. So yeah, thank you. We are currently at 1,294 subscribers on the channel. That is a pretty good thing. I'm quite pleased about that. I thank everyone who has helped to make that happen. Whether you've spread the news of the channel far and wide, or you just click that subscribe button yourself. You're like, I'm not going to evangelize, but I am going to subscribe, regardless of what you do. And we got some other folks that they throw in a little bit of help right now. And White Plume Mountain Lobster is pointing right down. You can support the channel on Subscribestar. You can support the channel on Patreon. You can become a patron. I did at request, put the PayPal link down below. So if you want to do that, that's fine too. But we have some folks that do help out in that respect. And I'd like to take a minute to thank them and say extra special thank you to Joshua Garlock, Lord Corion, Ricky Maru, Mobius, Kevin Reynolds, Doomsword Deathmaster, Mark Simpson, Damien247, James F. Keck, William Smith, The Dungeon Minister, Manny Wall, Mark Corey, Kevin Wood, Todd Sharp, Carnivore Farmer, Rob, Jeremy Rule, Bo Ganora, Mikey Bank, The Sky Hernstrom, Pete Sullivan, and the entire DM's Council. Now, that's not like a big band name. Like Pete Sullivan and the entire DM's Council. Pete Sullivan, comma, the DM's Council. Although if I was going to come up with a nerd big band, I might call it Bill Sylvie and the DM's Council. I don't know that I would do that for real. Mainly because I'm not a musician. So we're just about getting ready to start old Gamma World here. Oh, thank you, Dungeon Minister. These live streams are a phenomenon to themselves. Do, 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 do. Phenomenon. Do, 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 do. Alchemy. Well, I certainly appreciate that. Yeah, I tell people I do this for anywhere from 1 to 5 hours a night, 5 nights a week. And they're like, oh, how do you do that? How do you find... I got a whole bookshelf of endless content. The Dungeon Master's Guide, folks, not just the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Dungeon Master's Guide, the Player's Handbook, the Monster Manual, just those alone are an endless Mobius strip. We can go through them and through them and through them and find different combinations and different questions to answer and different answers to question in those books. And that's one role-playing game. There are other equally well-written role-playing games. So never doubt, never fear. So, before all 5 of you that are left watching the stream decide to go away because I'm dragging my feet, let me don me now my awesome headphones. Tra-la-la-la-la-la-la-la. Can I do that? Yeah, those still fit. I don't necessarily have to have them way up on my head. That's fine. Yeah, I can do that. Let us put this on and let us invite our players then into the room with us. Yes. And say hello to Christopher, Chuck the Robot, Barongo, and Numbers Rab. Greetings, entering friends.
Danger, Will Robinson, danger.
I'm like Danger Will Robinson, Danger Will Robinson. All right, so last week, if you folks remember, and if you don't, I'm about to remind you. Last week, the party had been questing and seeking out the dwelling place of the Sleeth, who were so kind and generous. You were accompanying them across land, and then you ran afoul of some terrible monsters, and one of your party members was laid low. As luck would have it, you encountered a group of friendly Yexel who can fly your injured comrade. Did you decide you were going to ask the Yexel to fly your injured comrade back to the stronghold, where hopefully the life ray will function and bring him back? Or were you going to let the robot carry him? Because the robot can move at 96 kilometers an hour. And that might get him there in an hour or two.
Seems like that'd be the smartest thing, huh? I mean, the robot can probably outrun anything it might encounter if it's smart enough.
Well, remember, I'm the one playing the robot, so don't count on its intelligence.
I did take that into account, but I figured, that there would be some rolls made or something.
I think we're hoping to have the Yexel do scouting for us as we travel.
That's right. Your Yexel are going to be your eyes in the sky. The Sleeth are telepathic and offer to touch minds with the strange furry birds that like to eat cloth. So the Yexel will do their thing. The Sleeth will kind of be your point of contact, and the rest of you will just have to slog along on foot while the robot speeds your friend back to the loving arms of the life ray. So it is going to take you the better part, just legging it. You realize It's going to take you many, 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 many hours to get back to the stronghold. Those of you on foot. An hour goes by. You've, let me see, gone probably 6 kilometers before you take a break, and the Yexel, they report nothing. That is, they report that they've seen nothing. Mum's the word. Mum's the word, y'all. We ain't telling y'all nothing. Y'all throw a car seat up here and we'll talk. All right. The next hour passes. You're perhaps a quarter of the way, and nothing untowards happens. Almost an entire hour goes by. When one of the Sleeth turns and says, "The simple but kind mind of one of the Yexel has contacted us. Something comes." All right, let's see. All right, so sure enough, and you have to get really close to see it, you see an orange beetle crawling through the brown dust. It sticks out like a sore thumb, scuttling along in the dirt. And you recognize this to be the dangerous, deadly Zarn, a parasitic beetle that can both teleport, paralyze, and likes to lay its eggs in the body of its paralyzed victims. And this one seems to be bulging quite a bit, so it's probably got a lot of those. It is... yeah, it's about 100 meters away. So what are you guys doing?
I don't like these things. Do we have enough distance to avoid it? Or...
you know that they can teleport long distances.
And it's noticed us? Or...
hard to say. It's hard to say. It's you know, they're only really semi-intelligent, so what do you guys wish to do?
I guess, well, I mean, if it hasn't seen us, I guess we can try to engage it. Do you guys do you guys have any distance weapons that have charges, or
the one of your the Sleeth patriarch shakes his slug thrower rifle.
Yeah, I've got a crossbow, but it's it's got range, but it's fairly weak. So I think I'd rather just ready myself for any teleportation that comes into my area with my vibroblade. Seems to be a lot more effective.
Yeah, Chris has only got throwing axes and a spear. He'll prepare his throwing axes.
Does the laser pistol or the laser rifle use the same battery as the vibroblade or not?
Hang on a second. That is a fine question.
I think they're all hydrogen energy cells, but I don't know if they're compatible. If they're anything like modern power tools,
Like a Makita. Just
damn straight. Damn it! This one's 52 volts.
Yeah. And it's also 52 times as expensive as the tool itself.
Yes.
Yeah, no kidding. I saw a few years ago at one of the big tool stores. I think it was Lowe's. They had a RC truck as the gift. You know, it was around holiday times, and you ran it by putting the Makita battery in it. That's very cute until Dad needs his his drill, and the Makita battery is at the bottom of the pond behind the house, attached to the truck.
Right. Yeah. That's when you say, "Hold this flashlight so I could do this work."
Yeah, exactly. Or it's just dead. So you can tell the thing is kind of stopped and it's waving its antennas. You were asking about the blaster, laser pistols, and vibro swords, right?
Yeah, the vibroblade and the laser pistol, laser rifle.
Yeah,
I have one of each, but only 2 shots on my pistol. So
Page 32 shows vibro daggers as having hydrogen energy cells as well.
Yes. So those are the same. Yes.
okay, well then I guess I'm gonna take a shot at it with my laser, my laser pistol, because that's what got the 2 shots.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. You guys have the drop on it if you want to open fire or whatever. And
I rolled a 12.
okay. There are armor
It is-
class 7.
It's a class 13 weapon.
Class 13, armor class 7. Well, you know, I thank God every time I'm on live stream that not only does the scroll wheel on this mouse not work really well, I forget that. Thank the Lord, because I would hate to be able to make this easy. It's a class 12?
Class 13.
Class 13, and I said it was armor class 7?
That's right.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that you hit it.
Okay, I do 18 damage.
Okay, your shot boils through its carapace, and this thing bursts.
That's it?
It did not. It did not have a lot of hit points. No. Burp. Boom. It just.
It must have been something it ate.
Yeah. It ate a 10 kilowatt laser.
Oh, I feel better.
I guess that's the way we'll handle everything from here on out.
Roadhouse. Yeah.
All right, so you are undisturbed actually for the next 3 hours of walking. Hot, dusty walking. And that you can now see the back of the hills that make the rear of the stronghold. You've got maybe a couple more kilometers of walking to go. You are beat tired.
Nice.
Just make a couple of quick checks. See if anything else interesting or amusing or lethal or some combination of all three comes up.
The real fun's going to be that 50-50 roll that somebody has to make.
Oh, yes.
This is the check 1 of 3, right?
I love that one. I love that one. Okay.
Nice eye roll.
Yeah.
All right. So there are no further encounters, and you arrive back at the stronghold. So now we're about to find out if your friend got back alive. So first of all, we need to make a check to see if the life ray functions or if it burns up a charge without functioning. Burns up an atomic battery.
No whammies, no whammies. Big money, big money.
They load another atomic battery into it, and the second time it functions, and it proceeds. It's got these arms inside. It looks like it's moving strings back and forth, tearing him apart and putting him back together. It's kind of gruesome but fascinating.
Just
So-
as the good Lord intended.
Do you want me to roll it, or do you want to roll it?
I'll let you roll it. My fate is in your hands, sir.
Especially getting the
Alrighty.
die rolling last time. It was not good.
Right?
Here we go. Does the life ray work, or does the life ray not work? Roll the tens dice first. That'll be the tell. And 36. So it does. So yeah, you come out, you feel sunburned even though you're not. The arms swing out of the way. You cough a little bit and you are fully awake now. Now, what'd you get for stats when you re-rolled your stats? Because for those of you listening, all three of you, when using the life ray, which is basically the raised dead of Gamma World, you have to re-roll all of your stats, including hit points and so on and et cetera for your character.
There were a few changes to his original stats.
Okay.
His mental strength went up to 16.
Okay.
His intelligence dropped to 10.
That's still above average.
His dex went up to 14, so it went up 1. His charisma dropped from a 15 to a 9.
Oof.
Near death changed him.
It did.
His constitution stayed 11. His physical strength went from 7 to 12.
Okay. Alrighty, so re-roll your hit points. Now, a lot of you might ask, why not just create a new character? The thing about it is, like, unless there is a significant intelligence drop or mental strength drop, I will assume that characters will know certain things. Like if he had the ability to operate a particular piece of technology, he still has it. But like if you had gone from intelligence 18 to intelligence 6, yeah, no, that just you come out dumb.
Which dice do I roll for hit points?
You roll a d6 equal to the number of your constitution. So if you have constitution 15, you roll 15 d6.
Okay, so wow. Okay, well I have 11, so I have to roll 11 d6.
Yes.
Okay. 4 and 3 is 7. Okay, hang on. Let's do it like this. 4 threes is 12. 3 is 15. 5 is 20.
Was he pure strain human?
Yeah.
Yeah, that the rules addendum has him roll d8s.
Oh, they are. That's right. They are
Right.
D8. Thank you. So start over.
Okay. Let me grab my 5d8 and repeat process. Okay. 1 and 1 is 2.
Starting out great.
And 5 is 7. 7 is 14. 4 is 18. 18 and 8 is 26. 26 plus 6 is 32. Plus 5 is 37. And then the last one is a 2, so 39, right? Yeah. 37
Yeah.
and 2 is 39. Woohoo! 39 hit points.
Everybody, help me shame James Keck into rejoining Gamma World. Join us. Get back here. All right. So Chuck is off the hook, and you can change your on-screen title.
Oh, yeah. Let me take care of that.
That's fine.
Okay.
Alrighty, so that was fortunate, and your Sleeth friends are oohing and awing at all the technology, all the glittering works of man. They have seen technology before. The patriarch has a slug thrower. Obviously, he knows what it is. He is not too terrified of your robot friends, but this is something completely different. He was destroyed by the artificial beings, and yet he now lives. Truly a miraculous device.
I am so tempted right now to try to make the Sleeth believe I'm their messiah. It's not even funny.
Air. Well. Okay. You've returned to the base. Rex Dashington is surprised to see you, but he's equally glad that the Life Ray worked to bring back a member of the group, and he says, I am worried that if there are hostile androids nearby, they could attack the base. I would accompany you, but should they lay siege to it in force, then me and my powered armor would be needed here to defend it.
Are there any weapons that Christopher could pick up here at the base besides the archaic stuff he's carrying right now? I just saw Barongo firing a blaster, and kind of want one of those now.
Oh, I understand. All of the energy weapons at the base that are not like in the hands of guards or private ownership have been distributed, though.
Okay.
There were some on the bubble car, but it's kind of
Gone.
floating in crystalline chunks in the Van Allen belt right now.
I have both a laser rifle and a laser pistol. So if you want, I can give you the laser pistol. you'll have to put a battery in it. It only has one shot left.
Okay.
And then I'll just use the rifle for now.
Okay.
If that's is that all right?
Sure.
Did we collect 4 vibroblades? So I mean, he could have one of those too, couldn't he?
You did, yes. The vibroblade is a very dangerous weapon.
I know. I took one. Barongo took one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there was 2 remaining and 2 sales each, right?
Right.
Okay.
And those are
do
interchangeable.
5 points damage. So.
What was that again?
The vibroblades do 25 points on a hit.
Oh.
They are weapon type 8, I think.
Okay.
I've got 5.
5. Okay. All right. That I just snapped over that. So they're weapon type 5. They do 25 points of damage fixed, so you don't have to roll. But then you got to get up in something's grill.
Okay. And I've got 2 hydrogen cells for the vibroblade.
Yes.
Yeah, 2 extra. Bill, I have a question.
I have an answer.
Since we all have lightsabers now, and we are clearly
God, here it
more
comes.
awesome than Obi-Wan, Jamie wants everyone to refer to him as Jamie the Sleep Lord. I am Darth Dodger, baby, the Sleep Lord.
I leave that interaction up to the characters. The players, the characters themselves, what you guys decide is entirely up to you. It's a little bit of a head scratcher as to how, like 500 years after the fact, your character, after a massive nuclear, biological, and chemical and technological war that destroyed 99% of all human life on the Earth and mutated 99% of what was left of that, would know about Star Wars, but you do you.
That was one of the great stories of the ancients that were told around the campfires of our home.
Fair enough. I've seen Reign of Fire also.
Well, fortunately, Numbers is hard of hearing from some prior mishaps, and he thought you said the Shite Lord.
Yeah.
Okay, so you brought Jamie Dodger back to life with a life ray. Christopher now has a vibroblade, a laser pistol. You have a laser rifle. You all have vibroblades. Your buddy in powered armor says, yes, if there are hostile androids, they could overcome our best defenses. I must be on guard in my power suit. Perhaps you could seek out the direction that they came from and find a way to negotiate with them and explain, we come in peace. We mean you no harm. I hope you were listening to that, by the way, Yang. I hope you were driving out across the great American Midwest, listening to the live stream as you enter your new region, and that just made you smile. So what are you doing, group? Well, let me ask you specifically, James. What is Christopher doing?
He's trying to figure out the blaster pistol. He's looking it over and oohing and ahhing about it.
Okay. So we have some rolls to make.
Okay.
All right. Give me a D10 roll.
A big 2.
Okay. Yeah. You're like, all right. I've seen them work this. Click.
Okay. And then a 5.
Okay. You know that hand phaser overloading sound from the original Star Trek?
I look at everybody. Is it supposed to sound like this?
Give me another D10 roll, or you can just stop messing with it.
Okay. Actually, I've got a -3, so that would have been a 2. I've got an intelligence of 18.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, you're like, click,
Yeah.
clack. You like ram the power battery home, clack.
That time with the modifier, I got a 5 that time. So, yeah, now the sound comes up.
Yeah, now it starts spinning up.
One more.
I'm backing away, not so slowly.
Oh, yeah, I got a 1 that time.
Okay, I think it's just 3 on a handgun. I'm going to double check, but you may now have it down pat.
Okay.
But I will double check. This is just chart A, and you got a 2, 1, 1, or something like that.
Yeah, and then a 5 and
Yeah.
then another 1.
Yeah, you think if you can figure out how to release the safety, it's good to go. So if you want, oh wait, you got a 5 and then another 1, so you got 3 successes, a miss, and then 1 final success. So yeah, you've got it figured out now.
Okay.
The battery goes in there, the bright light comes out there, and the bad guys fall over.
Okay.
I remember the 17-year cicadas were coming to fruition. I don't know, when the first time we visited Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, or perhaps it was the second, and every time we'd step outside our motel room, that buzzing noise just echoing across the lake. And every time we would do that, I'd tell Colleen and say, Spock, phaser on overload. That never got old. I mean, to me, to her, it's like the first time, and she was done with it. To me,
it was old in the movie.
it was old on the TV show. But every day, until we got on an airplane leaving Wisconsin to come back to Florida. Spock, phaser on overload. We mean you no harm. All right, so you've got your crew together. Hey, let me if Todd can make his character Star Wars references, I, the game master, can make Star Trek references.
That's right. I'll vote yes.
Spock. All right, what are you guys doing?
I suggest so we're taking the Sleeth in if they want to stay. We got to discuss that. But I also suggest that looking at the bottom of the laser rifle at the battery, that we try to find that Honda factory so we can get more of these.
Okay. And it is again that your buddy Rex Dashington speaks and says, it could be that our difficulties, both of defending the base and acquiring more power cells, could be mutually resolved. If we can find the location where the androids originated from, then we could destroy their base and recover their power cells. But I wouldn't send you alone. No. Scout them out. Because when you destroy the android base, you will have saved not just us, not just the folks of Goodwater, but the Sleeth and their village.
Well, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Yeah.
Darth Dodger puts his hand over his face to make a weird breathing sound and says, yes, embrace the hatred.
Okay. Everyone just kind of stops and looks at you. What hatred? What are we hating? Anyway, so Rex's plan is, while you were gone and you had met the Sleeth and he had come back to the base, he had come up with a couple of comm units. They're short range, but they will let you communicate with each other when out of line of sight. They run off. Rex says, in a flash to my earlier life, I realized they run from bioelectricity. They draw power from the user itself. So you don't have to worry about power for those. And of course, as I said, they are short-ranged, but you can definitely communicate out of line of sight. Rex says, where did you encounter the androids at?
Well, yeah, we were actually going to search to help this leaf, and then we were interrupted by androids, and we had to come home. So, 8 hours to the north, if I recall correctly.
It seemed like that. Rex goes over and walks up to one of the screens and picks up the pointing device and says, computer, show us the map, computer. It's not doing anything. You're wondering if Rex is having a moment.
It's all Star Trek all the time.
Good morning, computer.
Okay,
Hello.
well, I just kind of draw since really had nothing else to do except shoot at a beetle once. I draw a map of what I think is the trail to where we encountered those androids.
Okay, they bring it over to one of the screens, and Rex has now gotten over his temporary mental lapse on how to use the computer and is bringing up a map. And they overlay your drawing on it, and he kind of folds it back and looks at it a couple of times and says, this is the ancient ruined city of Ralg Nork. It is avoided. It is supposed to be it is rumored to be a city of deadly traps. But if this is where the androids have been located, we must know, and we must deal with them at the soonest possibility. I'll control operations from here. And he kind of claps his arms around the four of you and says, you go down to Ralg and find out what you can. You don't have to try and destroy them single-handedly. We just need to know if they're there. And what their strength might be and what their capabilities are. A reconnaissance mission.
I'm going to look back over at our esteemed resurrected colleague here and say, you don't happen to still have that interesting, I don't know, EMF interrupter thing or whatever it was?
You speak, and he puts his hand above his mouth again to do the weird breathing, the raspy breathing, and he says, you speak of the ancient stick of finding.
No, the one that makes it harder for electronic stuff to work.
Yes, the ancient stick of finding has
That is? Oh, okay.
When you attune yourself with the surrounding, you too can achieve higher levels.
Okay. I was like, I'm not sure that the resurrection worked all that well.
Yeah, Rex leans over and says, is Jamie Dodger's lung capacity somehow damaged? He was shot in the chest by a robot.
Something's damaged. I'm not sure it's his lungs. Okay, yeah. Well, do we know how that's powered?
Let's see.
I just want to know if we can rely on it at all, or if we have to be.
Well, you know, it does. I don't think we ever. All Darth Dodger knows about it is it's the ancient finding stick. It finds power suits and is remote control for parachutes, and it can find and control robots.
Right.
I don't know if it would work on the androids though.
You had made the appropriate rolls to use it, so yes, you do know that it will not control androids. Androids have a positronic brain that is far too advanced for that to control.
Okay.
So it will not affect data.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Certain death then. Okay. I'm in. Let's go.
Okay. So the city is a couple of days journey by foot, but they do have a small electric car that could get you there in possibly a few hours. They were thinking about scavenging in it, but the sound of that death city sort of put them off a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge. So they hadn't really explored it yet. So this might be an ideal opportunity. It could have just been some rogue androids, or it could have been something awful that we have to do something about immediately.
So it's solar powered? How is it powered? I keep asking the same question with different objects. I don't know.
No, that's okay. So the ground vehicle that they've gotten working is actually they have figured out, because you guys have been there for a few months, and I mean, farmers aren't dumb. I mean, you find how stuff works and kind of start to put two and two together, and you can get things working again. So they've gotten one working, and it is let's see. It is a civilian internal combustion, but they brew the fuel. They basically, the fuel, rather than being petrochemicals from hundreds of years ago, they are made from alcohol.
Hey, let's take us a drink.
Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah.
I guess we need to find some containers to put the fuel in. And
well, there's a tank in the car.
Right, but 2 days. I'm not sure. I want a little bit of assurance.
Well, it was 2 days on foot.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. Perfect.
Probably. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do it. We'll see if we can figure out how to operate the car. Do we have anybody that's operated a car before?
Has anyone made those successful die rolls before? Rex pounds you on the shoulder and says, I have confidence in you. You've graduated training. It should be fine.
Right.
Didn't somebody get some training from Gerg before he passed away on driving a car? I thought we trained somebody once.
That person may have perished also.
Yeah,
probably.
I was in that car, but I didn't learn anything except not to be in the car.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yes.
We'll work it.
All right. So they've got a vehicle out there. It's got very durable tires of some ancient cloth-like mesh, but it seems far more sturdy. There's a compartment inside, and as I said, they've done their best to get this thing working. Let's see. Oof. Yeah, you're not entirely sure. They're trying to get it started. You're flooding it. What does that even mean? I don't know. I just heard one of the mechs say it.
I was doing this just 2 weeks ago with the Bronco.
I do talk about auto rebuilds on this show. Not that I do, just YouTube channels and people who do it that I watch. Anyway, okay, they can at least get the engine to kick over. Who wants to attempt to learn to drive the ground car?
I will attempt to learn to drive.
Okay, give me a D10 roll.
Definitely walking away from this.
Yeah, I'm gonna. Last time I was nearby this, I got hurt. I'm gonna be inside.
So 2d10, right? Or 1d10?
One D10.
All right, here we go. Come on, Darth Dodger, baby. Show them what the dark side's about.
Is this the 25th and a half century?
It is.
An 8. Yeah, you kind of move the wheel back and forth. You push a button and you hear this click, 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 and you push it back the other way, and then you hear click, click, click. You put it in the middle, and it stops clicking.
Yes, I found
you move another lever. You see these little mechanical stubs fitfully kind of move. You know, it's a 200-plus-year-old windshield. It's not, you know, wipers are a little dry rotted, but nothing major changes. You want to give it a shot again?
Sure. I am not afraid. I will harness the hatred.
I'm going to laugh when he gets a skull and crossbones.
I rolled a 1.
A 1. Okay. All right. You've got it. There's the few lights that aren't like broken in, you know, just like completely burned out or whatever. There's some of them now fitfully glowing. You think you've made it past the first critical step. Roll again.
All right. It's the power of the I don't know. I'm trying to think of something other than dark side. It's the power of the sleeve side. I rolled another 1.
Okay. You have advanced it to the next stage of function. It rolls forward like a half a meter very gently.
Yes, the power of sleeve is strong in this one. I shall call this vehicle R2.
Yeah.
I rolled a 2.
Okay, well, you push down on a pedal and you stop it from rolling forward. So you've got forward, stop rolling forward, make it move back and forth a little bit. You think you've got a handle on this. You want to roll it one more time?
Oh, I'm not scared. Are you scared, Bill? Because I'm not.
I'm not in the least.
It's the power of the sleeve side, baby.
Nothing you guys do won't entertain me. Let me just say that. And I think that holds true for our audience tonight. So don't ask me if this is the right thing to do. Nothing you can do won't be entertaining.
I rolled another 2.
You rolled another 2. Okay. Nothing changes. You don't alter the the trajectory of the car or anything like that. So
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to keep trying. You don't quite have it fully engaged yet.
I rolled another 2.
You mean?
Yeah, you're like, oh, well, I'll just move that. Put it in H.
Means dirty, right?
It's not going to be him slutly div. Roll it again.
Oh wow! I rolled a 6. I think I may have broke something on that one.
Uh-oh.
Okay. A large accelerating noise comes out from under the hood, and it lurches forward a couple of meters. You've kind of got your feet on all the pedals on the floor just to stop it. And it's ah.
Yes, the rage is strong in this R2. Yes, use that rage. Join me on the sleep side.
God, please roll an 8, 9, or 10.
And then I rolled another 2.
You're afraid to take your feet off the pedals. You don't know if that'll stop it or if it'll fly and slam into the wall of the side of the stronghold. Roll again.
I rolled a 9.
But you don't have a -3?
Okay. Oh, that's right. You're at a -3. You haven't been doing -3. Okay, so that's 9. Let's see. You rolled a 5 to get there, so that just would have taken you back through. Yeah, you get it settled down and fiddle with the controls for a while longer, and eventually, you figure it out. You know how to make it go forward. You can turn it to the left and to the right, the 2 little control sticks, and it will turn out of the way of objects, and there you go. You figured it out.
Does it have a radio?
It does have a radio.
Okay. In a good song zone?
Well, since there's like no operating radio stations anymore, no.
Yes. I've read of these. They're called Static Master 3000s. Very, very powerful devices the ancients had.
Okay, you guys have the car. It will be, you think, maybe, as I said, a 2-hour drive to the ruins of Ralg. Ralgnork is what the place is called.
ROLGNORK.
There's no Daniel Webster, so probably.
Okay.
Yeah, it's there. It's there in the chat. Is there a Journey cassette in the radio? No, there's not.
Damn it.
Sorry.
I was hoping for Wall of Voodoo, but you know.
Free bird.
Okay. Are y'all going to climb in the car? Or?
Oh yes, definitely.
Ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding,
once we figured out that you're actually not a terrible driver.
Yeah.
Yes, use the fear.
So Rex walks up to you and says, "Good. You have mastered the ancient transport. Here, use this map. If you can follow this, I believe you will find the ancient death city of Ralgnork lies in that direction." And he hands you the piece of paper that you had drawn on, and there are some landmarks, woods, possible rivers, ruins, and, of course, Ralgnork.
I'll take the map and say, "May the power of sleep compel you."
The map does not respond.
It's an unbeliever in the way of the sleep.
Does the GPS respond? Well, let's hit the road or whatever we use as a road.
Does anybody want to be the navigator and I'll just drive?
I'll do my best to attempt to navigate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Although I've never been or even heard of Ralgnork.
You shall be my Chewie and the ancient stories. the great companion Chewie.
This is why I refuse to help him with anything.
I was like, those stories, quite ancient. Can we get going? You could tell me on the road.
Yeah, and then just tell me which way, and I'll hit the gas.
We're going north, I believe. I look at the map and verify. Are we going north?
It is a little. I mean, following the map will take you northeast, actually.
Okay, so I point the general direction to northeast, whatever that is.
And
we
I'll
gotta go that way.
I'll turn the static up loud, pretend it's really rocking music, and gun the car.
Okay. All right. So off you roll. And very quickly, the dusty, fairly clear area gives way to forest.
Are there paths through the forest, or we have to go around?
The road goes right through the forest.
Oh, okay. I look at the map. Is there forest on the map? just to check and make sure we're in the right place.
I mean, they didn't color it in, but you're kind of following that.
Okay. All right. I say, hey, perfect. We're on the right path. I'm looking out the window as I say that. Yay, verily. Yeah. Continue. Hit the pedal, whatever it is.
All right. Let me.
My wayward son.
Oh no! It's God! Don't encourage him.
There'll be peace when you are done.
Don't do it. God damn it! That's minus 500 XP.
So all we are is dust in the wind anyway.
I will slap you to death.
How many of those plant pods happen to be nearby?
All right. You are rolling up the highway. Where? Come on.
So we got the
We can
motor
just walk-
running, and
We're just watching Bill's hair turn gray before our eyes.
Really, it's happening. You do see a. Now, I mean, you guys left. It was early evening. You've been going for about an hour now. The very dim, ancient light that this thing puts out from a few spots is not illuminating the road. So when you pass something that looks like boards or a board or something just inside the tree line on the left-hand side of the road, which is kind of the north-ish side of the road, you're not sure what it says because it flashes by as you are driving along.
Well, I was here to lead, not to read. So.
I'm focusing on driving.
Right.
Chris will look out and see what he can see.
Hang
out.
Just very cool air, and it's just flying by really quickly.
I'll point it out to everybody. Look.
Maybe we should back up and see what that said, if it says anything, just to give us an idea of where. Well, can you guys read? I don't know if I can read or not.
I don't know. I've got an 18 intelligence, but I don't know if I can read.
I say we should stop and go look at if there was. So it's a big sign or a smaller sign or.
It's actually fairly large. It's overgrown with vines and bracken and such. You can now see that it is of uniform size, and it has kind of a faint glow from the little bit of light that your auto is putting out. Oh, thank you, Danny. Thank you. Good luck to you.
Yes, Danny, go. The power of sleaze compels you.
And that just made him stop.
Can we put him back in the thing and roll
Better
over 50?
luck.
Put it in reverse.
Better luck. Okay, so this is what you see. I mean, an 18 intelligence, yeah,
Okay.
indicating Ralg Nork 5 km.
I translate that to my companions.
Like, you got to hold the pedal down for a little longer.
Seems reasonable to me.
Yeah. Are we at a point where visibility's bad enough that we might have trouble? I mean, can you guys, can anybody see? I have ultravision, but I don't think that's going to help for this.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to be driving for your ultravision to be of any real assistance as far as that goes. And the, like I said, there's just a few lights. There's like one yellow over here. There's an orange one that points directly back out of the rear. There's just a faint, just a pale white light shining almost straight down out of a misaligned light of some kind in the front of the vehicle on the right-hand side, on the opposite side. We have a PSA from Dungeon Minister. Hot glue strings are hard to see in salsa, but easy to find in your mouth. Yuck. Mm.
Oh.
Build the dungeons, eat the nachos, not the other way around.
Well, I mean, I guess we could go for a little longer. I'm gonna kind of regularly check with our driver to ask if he's seeing decently.
Okay.
Not really. Is there anything, or like, are we? We're definitely driving on like a road of some kind. Is it a black surface? Are there mustard and mayonnaise lines or remnants thereof on the road? Or
it's like most of the ancient travel ways that you've been on. It is broken into some places. It is like a, almost unbroken slab, many hundreds of meters long. And then there are other places where it seems like you're completely off the road. As far as color, it's hard to see in the dark. But if you kneel down and look at the little bit of light coming out of one of the lamps on the front of the vehicle that's misaligned and pointed to the ground, or maybe that's the way it was supposed to be, you're not sure. It seems to be kind of a ashen blue-gray color. Any other major coloration on the road, you can't see it.
Okay. So basically it's the same type of roads that we have here in South Arkansas. Gotcha.
Colorado too. Yeah, so let's just I mean it's 5 kilometers, right? So are we going faster than 5 kilometers an hour? How fast can we go? I mean, on the dash, does it show us, or is that not functional?
Oh no, yeah, no. There's no speedometer. Yeah, no.
Okay. Well, I mean, I say we wing it for a little while and then hopefully be arriving. I don't want to stop in the dark. I really don't want to stop in the dark. Yeah.
Continue forward.
Well, we will continue onward as the sleaze commands.
Okay. You guys have no idea why he keeps talking about the kindly lizard people that you left back at the stronghold, but
right, they're not here.
The Sleeth didn't tell us to do this. Rex told us to. What in the hell? All right. So you travel on, and the forest, it's weird. It's almost like someone threw a switch, because The forest begins to thin out and give way to tumble down ruins, broken pieces of ancient stone and metalwork. The car is coming up a slight rise that is curving to the south initially, but then curves sharply back towards the north. Let's see. What is Darth Dodger's dexterity? Todd.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted. I
That's
forgot
okay.
I muted myself. His dex is 14.
14. Okay, give me a d20 roll.
Here we go. I'm grabbing the green dice. So everyone keeping score at home, take note of that.
Yeah.
Here we go. Ooh, I rolled a 3. Dice will never be touched again. Putting that over there.
Okay. Well, Darth Dodger lives up to his name, and you see it was almost imperceptible, but your ground car has gone up an incline and curved to the left, and there's about 10 or 15 meters of incline that just isn't there anymore, and you stop before you nose over, well before you nose over. It is overcast and dark, so that could have been a very bad thing.
It's a long, dusty highway. A cool breeze in my hair.
But you suspect that somewhere before you, and you get the feeling you went more than 5 kilometers. The sign may have been partially obscured. It took you a while to get here, but somewhere ahead and down there may be the city of Ralgnork, the death city of Ralgnork. So you're going to double back and attempt to find it in the dark, wait here, or what?
Well, what do you guys think?
We're on a kind of an incline, correct? We're like above the ground or whatever. I mean, we're not like in a spot where we could be ambushed easily.
Right. I mean, as far as on foot or over ground,
where we stopped, where the car stopped.
Well, yeah, I mean, on the incline, as far as somebody coming up to you on foot or over ground, there's one way, and it's from where you just came from.
Okay. What do you
Flying, climbing up the sides, jumping over the gap in front of you, if it can do that, which there are certainly creatures that can. Many avenues open, but as far as somebody just running up on you, no, you're fine.
Okay. You guys want to camp here for the night? Just keep watch, make sure nothing sneaks up on us.
Yeah,
We can-
I mean, the bad news is I don't think we asked about where our actual ultimate destination was. So I think we need to stop and assess, but we need to be daytime.
Okay.
Right.
All right. So you all think that it will probably be a few hours before daylight. At least a few hours before daylight. As you left, well, yeah, 4 hours before daylight.
Okay.
All right. Are you setting up watches, or are you all just going to sit awake and talk?
Yeah, Chris will
Have
often
it.
watch.
Have an intervention with Jammy? What?
Sock party.
Chris will stand watch.
Okay. The sock party. It just dawned on me what you said there. Okay. While Chris is on watch, some distance down the ramp, but definitely approaching. What is Chris's dex, please?
His dex is 12.
Yeah, you're kind of startled because quickly moving up the ramp in the very pale, just the very faint light of the night, you can see many shapes low to the ground, and they are snarling and growling in high-pitched voices. You know that sound. These are batters. Better, 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 better. Mushroom, mushroom. Okay, so you have an unknown bunch of batters moving up the ramp towards your vehicle. It is dark. They were somewhat stealthy. You are caught off guard, and they are going to use this time to try and cover the distance between you and them.
Okay. Chris is going to use the butt of his one of his throwing axes and tap on the car, on the trunk of the car or whatever, to wake everybody up or get their attention.
Okay. And it's not a large group. You can't tell how many, but it's maybe maybe a half dozen, possibly. And they are bound, as I said, they are bounding up towards you, their teeth bared, and yes, you can see them clearly in the dark, growling and hissing. These batters look a little worse for the wear. At this distance, you can kind of see that some of them are missing patches of fur. One of them, moving a little bit slower than the others, has no like footwear, foot guard, shoe, or anything like that. Just this kind of misshapen lump of knobby flesh. You're not sure if you would see more on them if they were closer, but yeah, you can smell them, and you know the batter odor, and that's pretty awful. And they are thinking hard at you. Hate you. Ah!
Okay.
All right. So they spend their surprise moving up on you. You tap furiously on the car. Everybody, you hear bang, 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 bang. So what is Jamie doing?
The Slith Lord, Darth Dodgers, jumps out and says, "The power of Slith compels you," and gets ready for battle.
What is Barongo doing?
I'm drawing my laser rifle and have my vibroblade ready should things go that direction instead.
All right, and how about numbers?
Yeah, I'm going to ready my vibroblade.
Okay. Numbers, you will go before everyone else. They are in melee range. What do you wish to do?
They are in melee range?
Yes, they spent their round closing it. All right.
All right.
Easily done.
All righty. Let's see what happens here. I got a 10 with a class 5 weapon.
All right. Okay. That will hit, by the way.
Excellent.
That's 25 points. You shear it in half. There are now 5 of them.
Yeah.
Batters are exceptionally quick. In the future, this was Game Master's mistake, but just in the future, you'll have to roll against batters. You will
Okay.
basically be initiative tied and have to break it with an initiative roll. So Jammy has waved his vibroblade around and is yelling a quote that has nothing to do with Star Wars at them. Barongo, you are brandishing your gun, and Christopher, you are readying your vibroblade, or are you using a ranged
Still
weapon?
using my hand axe. I'm gonna try to bash one of them with my hand axe, I guess.
Okay. Then Chris, go ahead, James, go ahead and roll initiative.
Okay.
You will almost certainly win.
Okay. Unless I roll a 1.
Unless you roll one. Did you roll a 1?
I rolled a 1.
You okay. Batters go first.
Guys.
Flashbacks
All right.
from last session.
You guys will be fine. But as it turns out, they were not fine.
They found out quick. Honey batters don't give a what? What was that? Sorry.
Yeah. All right, let's see here. So the batters that are left, there's 4 batters that appear to have they have spears. So we're going to deal with them first. Numbers, one of them just fearlessly steps over his comrade that you cut in half and jabs at you. What is your armor class?
That would be 4.
That's not going to get it. Next at Jammy, that will not hit. This one is at Barongo. Whoop. That D20 is on the floor. Fortunately, I have a bunch where that came from. That is a miss, and that was 1, 2, 3. I think that was everybody. Oh, so numbers. All right, so you're all missed, but there is a larger one in the back who has something else. Yes.
Okay.
I gotta see here what exactly. He has an Interados. He jams you in the neck with it. Tell me the truth. All right. Oh boy. And you know what? That's ridiculous, and I love it. Yeah, he's pushing something. He's pushing something in a big wheelbarrow, and jumping up and down and chittering and gesturing at it and gesturing at you. And you're getting like a real strong sense of death and hate from him. And in this wheelbarrow, you're not sure what it is, but it's spherical. It's about, let me see. Yeah, about 2/3 of a meter in diameter, and it's strapped down. But he doesn't do anything. Counterattacks everyone.
Okay, I'm going to shoot him with my laser
right.
rifle.
Your dice roller's on the extremes here. Roll a 20 for a axe attack there.
All right. I'm sorry. I was trying to pick out the correct 20-sided dice to use.
No, that's okay.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter because this one will also never be rolled again. I rolled a 2.
Okay. Pwee! You miss. He ducks under it. Okay. Well, Kevin, take your shot.
Yep, I got a 16. Glass 13.
All right. Roll your damage.
Okay. It is that's terrible. It's 13 damage. Oh, man. Ouch.
He grasps his abdomen and screams and staggers back. He is screeching in obvious pain, and he is thinking very hateful things at you.
So just like everybody else. Okay. I'm happy. I'm thinking I'm happy. Back at him.
Okay. He thinks something at you that is a bright flash and a cloud that is shaped like a mushroom.
Oh, shit.
You all get this in your heads.
Okay.
And he raises his finger up over the sphere. Has everybody attacked in this round?
I didn't get my damage in. I smacked one of them with a 20 and did 5 points of damage.
Okay. He kind of staggers back. I'm not one to ever say, you guys better win initiative. It would be advantageous if you won initiative in this round. I think
Sleeth Lords rolling it.
I think it is Kevin's turn to roll initiative.
Oh, great. It's going to be my fault. Okay. 1d6, right? So
Correct.
Thank you for jumping
I got
on
a
this
6.
grenade,
Yes.
Amazing.
Right.
I got a all right. I got a 5. What, Christopher?
He's going to check his axe at the one pointing at the sphere.
Okay, roll to hit.
A 4. Dang it.
Sails off into the night. Jammy?
Jammy is going to vibroblade. Is Jammy close to the wheelbarrow guy?
Yeah. I mean, you guys are all in melee range. You can step over there and have it.
I'm definitely going to hit wheelbarrow guy with the old.
Well, you're gonna try. So roll a d20 and we'll see what happens.
Oh no, I have faith in this dice. This is the orange dice, Bill. So we have faith in it.
Sure.
Come on, mother, son of God, 1.
You trip, fall, and your vibroblade clatters out of your hand just decimeters from where you could have reached him.
I have a feeling that this is the image. Was that orange dye? It had nothing to do with an explosion.
Now, let me tell you what. If you're watching this in the future, you missed a heck of a thing tonight. Roll your attack there, Kevin.
Okay. I got a 13 and class 13.
All right. 13. That'll hit him.
Awesome. I got a 16 damage. Slightly better, but still sucks.
Okay. That beam stabs right through him and he screeches and falls backwards. Let's see. Just for S&Gs, I'm going to roll a D100. On an odd 1, back at the stronghold, they see a flash and hear a boom. No, his hand does not land on whatever he was pointing at.
Because the power of Sleeth compelled him.
Well, there's still 4 of them left. Yeah, there's still 4 of them left, so they counterattack. This one's on.
I need an attack. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. Yeah, I'll attack the one that's closest to me. And that's an 18. So 25 damage.
Yeah, you cut him down. There's 3 of them left. He misses Chris. 15. What is Jammy's armor class?
Jammy's armor class is... Where is my armor class written down at? That is for Chuck. That is not for Jammy. 4. I'm sorry, 4.
All right, that is a class 3 weapon. You are armor class 4. And he gigs you for 5 points of damage.
Oh.
And the third one, Morongo.
Okay.
I think a 10 is going to miss you. Your armor class 2, right?
It's 3 because I'm not using my shield right now.
Okay. Yeah. That just that spear just prangs off of you. Okay. New round. There's 3 of them left. They don't seem to be monkeying with this thing. Same thing. You guys going to melee and shoot and whatnot?
Yeah.
Same for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. And I think we're over to Doomsword. Roll initiative, please.
3.
Party goes first. This is probably it.
Chris is going to try out that vibro blade. Got a 19.
Nice.
That will hit 25 points. You cleave him into. It is almost completely bloodless. Like thump.
Does Darth Dodger have to take his turn to stand up and collect his vibro blade or anything?
I'm going to say, since there's no real fumble rules, just like there aren't critical rules, yeah, you can jump up and pick it up. Just,
Okay. Well, I'm gonna swing at the closest batter to me, because I'm using and embracing the hate I have for these D20s. We're rolling the white D20 now for those keeping score at home.
Okay.
Woohoo! I rolled a 12.
A 12 will almost certainly gig him. Yeah, you cut him in half. There's just one left.
Darth Dodger starts twerking.
Oh, I didn't need to know that. Nobody here needed to know that.
Got an 8 on my
I would disagree, Bill.
I averted my eyes because of the twerking.
Okay, yeah. You see his hips start to thrust, and you're just like, oh. Like, oh no. Well, the batter didn't avert his eyes. He stabs you, but it only does a point of damage. Like, you're turning away just as he's lunging forward, and you kind of feel the point of the spear like catching a joint in your armor and just twist and little trickle of blood.
But I'm only slightly wounded, and he's damaged mentally forever.
That's very true. Leaving him alive would be worse than killing him at this point.
Keep in mind, while he's twerking, he's definitely doing the raspy breathing when he does it.
Good to know. I absolutely needed to know that. Thank you.
Definitely.
You guys have seen what I've suffered through, and I haven't gotten a single gosh darn super chat tonight to be a salve on that injury. But you do you.
Super chat you to kill him.
Well, Todd, you'd have to super chat to save yourself. It would just go from there. Okay, next round. One batter left. You guys gonna finish him off?
Yeah.
All right, let's roll initiative. I mean, I'll set off that bomb if I have to. So it's Christopher actually is initiative.
I got a 6 this time.
Damn it! I was even using my badly out of balance D6 that I roll initiative with, and you guys still got the initiative. So go ahead, attack.
I only got a 6 this time with my saber.
Nope.
I rolled a 12 again.
A 12 will hit, 25 points, and you lop his head off and he drops. So there's a bunch of dead batters. There's a wheelbarrow with a metallic sphere in it that has a few blinking lights on a panel on it.
Does it look like the metallic sphere will fit in the vehicle?
Maybe. I mean, like I said, it's only about 2/3 of a meter in diameter.
Okay.
Are the blinking lights in a pattern, and is that pattern changing at all?
I would need a tech roll for that.
All right, I suppose I'll do that. Yeah, I got a 7.
Goodbye, Ragnarok.
I didn't touch it. I just looked at it. You see what?
Okay, you're just looking at it. Then no, okay, no, you can't. Yeah, you're not sure if the pattern takes a long time to repeat or if it doesn't repeat at all. But just at a glance, without investigating it, you can't.
All right.
I would help, but I have a negative on these things. So, a negative being I add numbers to my rolls. So yeah, I'm not touching this with a 10-foot pole or an 11-foot pole.
I guess I can try. I've got the -3.
Okay.
A 1.
A 1. Okay, so at a glance, yeah, there's 2 lights, one, and they're kind of flickering off and on. And the lights themselves appear to have once had words on them, but with a roll like that, you can just make them out. One says safe, the other says arm.
Can I touch the safe, please?
Give me another roll.
Well, guys, it's been great playing with you.
I got a 3.
All right, let's see. I'm guessing you're just not like slapping your palm down on this panel.
No.
Okay. Final defensive fire on my coordinates. It's been a lovely freaking war. Any of you guys wants to hum nearer my God to thee now? That's fine. Safe arm or safe arm.
If you would like, I could sing Ave Maria now, Bill.
I would not like, actually. Okay, so you rolled a 3. You pushed the safe, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it clicks into place and goes dark, and arm is now steady on.
Okay.
And there is a green switch next to it that's flashing, and on the green switch it says initialize.
Ew. Can I click the safe button again?
Give me another die roll.
Safe, damn it! I said safe!
I got a 1 again.
Okay, you click the safe button, and it pops back out and lights up. And arm is no longer flickering. It is dark.
Okay.
And initialize is dark.
Okay. So I think it's turned off now.
Do you want to roll the dice a few more times just to make sure?
Not really.
This is one of those things where you really can't just walk away and not worry about it. So,
Hey, maybe we could roll it down the hill and then dive in the ditch.
Tuck and cover.
Is this little overpass thing we're on over water, or is it?
You don't know.
Oh, damn.
It's pitch black. I mean,
It's probably seawater anyway. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, where's that robot anyway?
oh, the robot's
I-
not.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think we ran off and left Chuck at the base because Chuck would be needed at the base anyway to help defend it.
Right.
No, we could have totally bendered this thing with Chuck, though.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. Well,
Wired it into Chuck and sent him in as a suicide bomber.
Yeah.
don't tell him the
Programming
activation
to say
word.
The pirate fleet compels you.
Yeah. I mean, I think. Well, I don't know. Either we take it with us or we just let it go. Just leaving this around, probably not good. That's how these assholes got it in the first place. Right? Some jerk left this around. So, we should probably take it with us. Now, we have stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
So, is there a place we could put it in the car which would be more secure than just in the back seat?
I mean, there's a cargo compartment that has this right angle shaped door that seems to open up. There's nothing back there. Oh no,
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
right by the gas tank.
There's like a hydraulic lever and what appears to be another one of the wheels.
Is
So
that
there's some
wheel
kind of
in a
wedge or
depression?
lever. I'm sorry, what?
Is the wheel in a depression?
You haven't really talked to it, and I don't think you have the empathy trait for mutation, so you're unsure. Yes, it is in a well in there, yes.
Maybe we could move the tire and put the sphere in the thing to keep it from rolling around too much.
Well, I mean, does the tire have a hole in the middle of it?
Yeah. It's on the tire is on a hub of one of the wheels that's attached to the outside of the vehicle.
So they never even let them have tubeless tires 300 years later.
You think in the year 2276 that companies would be acting any better?
That's a good point.
Well,
This is an internal combustion engine. I mean,
so but there's holes in the tire wheel or whatever that we could maybe tie it down to.
yes.
Is it vertical or horizontal? Is the depression vertical or horizontal? It's horizontal, I hope. Where the tire is it?
The tire is lying flat on its side.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I say we get some cloth, shirts, whatever, put it over the wheel and tie this thing to the wheel. Right?
Works for me.
We can take the hide off these batters and use that
There we
as a
go.
cushion.
There we go. That works perfectly.
Or some of their harnesses or something from their clothing or armor if they're wearing any.
Yeah, they've all got, and this thing was held in the wheelbarrow with ropes.
Oh, well,
okay.
we could just take that.
We'll just reuse those.
Yeah, I was wondering. I thought I had said that, and I'm like, why aren't they just taking the ropes from the wheelbarrow?
Can we search the batters while we're at it? See if they got any goodies that we could use.
You can
Yeah,
search
for sure.
the batters. So I said there were 6 of them. So you gather up a total of 19 pieces of gold.
Ooh.
They have the spears. They have some dried meat. And they are carrying containers of liquid. It is night. It's hard to tell what might be in them.
Does the meat look edible or is it like rotted and
It's night. It's dark. It's dried meat. There's a couple of different ways to find out.
Yeah.
One of them is waiting till morning.
Yeah,
That's a
that's the
great
best
idea.
one.
we'll gather up what we can and stuff it in the car, I guess. And I guess
So we're going to make sure to put some, like I said, clothing or something between the sphere and the wheel, just
Yeah.
to make sure.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a little softer. Not that it probably matters.
Yeah, Jebby will go over there and start cutting some basically start kind of halfway skinning one of the batters to make some padding to put this thing on.
Okay.
That works just as well. Okay, perfect.
Can I
Is
receive
it-
my axe?
Yes.
Okay.
So all this knees bent running about takes you about an hour, but nothing comes up the ramp towards you as you're doing that. It's 10 kilometers to Rognork. We've got a half a tank of gas, a trunk full of atomic weapons. It's dark, and we're wearing gas masks. Hit it. All right, so you take care of what you need to take care of. It is roughly 2 hours before dawn.
Do we want to try to get a little more sleep, or?
Yeah, there's no reason to stay awake as long as somebody's awake. I could stay awake if needed.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep my eyes away from the sphere, since I probably can see that very brightly.
Yeah, actually, with your UV vision, the sphere is pretty much like a sun. All right, the next 2 hours pass uneventfully. The sun is just creeping up in the east through the gloaming there in the morning. I don't know. Does gloaming only happen in late afternoon, early evening? Can gloaming happen in the morning?
Well, you see, Bill, when a man and a woman love each other.
Stop. Anyway, early morning light. Nearby, and I keep forgetting about your UV vision there, Barongo. Yeah, there's a haze, and you thought, oh, okay, well, maybe it's just at night. No, even during the day, there is a faint haze of energy, and you guys can now see it. There is a overgrown, but very clearly blasted ruin spread out before you. The drop off the end of the overpass that you're on is easily 10 meters. You probably would not have survived if you had driven off that at night. You definitely wouldn't now.
So let me ask. Does this happen to look like the cover of a certain futuristic role-playing game, first edition? Is that what we're looking at?
Maybe it could be.
Okay. I just need to find the right place for me to stand with my laser rifle. That's all I'm asking.
At least in the background, it does. So, yeah, you need some enviro suits and a electronic hand scanner, and you would have the full ensemble.
So I suggest that we stop doing what we're doing for this adventure and go find those things. But no, let's go ahead.
Right. There's four of us. We need we need one more laser rifle, a hand scanner, and matching helmets and jumpsuit guys. Come on, let's get it together.
Do we so as usual we left the area before we asked enough questions. Do we have any idea whatsoever where we're looking for?
None. No.
Okay, do we see like any moving people, things that look like people walking around anywhere? It's not a terrible place to see, right?
It's not a terrible place to see. I mean, it is a ruin. Parts of it are completely flattened. Let me see. What is your I'm not sure where we would put this. Oh, you know what? We'll just roll percentile dice here, and we'll see.
Okay.
Yeah, no, you don't see anyone down there in the haze.
Okay. I want to ask the other guys. Hey, did you have any idea where we should be going? What we should be looking for? Maybe look for stuff where there maybe are lights still on, or maybe there's some kind of extra energy coming out of the area. You know, where it's like you said, it's a haze everywhere. But is there somewhere where it's a little brighter, aside from the middle of the crater? Right? I'm assuming we're not going to go there.
Yeah, no, that's the brightest spot of haze.
Okay, yeah, we're definitely not going there.
What color is the haze?
Would
would
one call the haze purple?
That's what I was thinking.
Oh.
Purple.
No, it is light blue.
It's ecru. Yeah. Well, yeah. Grid search pattern? I'm at a loss here.
Okay. Well, we are almost coming up on the bottom of the hour, so I think you guys looking out upon the vista of this bombed out city of the ancients, looking for an installation of hostile androids to report their location back to the stronghold, I think is as good a place as any to ease down on the brakes. So I'd like to thank my players for, if nothing else, entertaining the hell out of me this evening. I am both disappointed and not that you didn't F around and find out what the sphere does. 500 extra XP if somebody finds some paint and spray paints Molon Labe on the side of it. I'd like to thank our audience for tuning in, and I'm glad to know we had a light audience tonight, but that's fine. I hope that our buddy who was that
Well, we had the dungeon master eating some hot glue salsa for some reason.
Yes, dungeon minister eating hot glue salsa, but
yeah, that one guy. Where's he at?
Yeah, M3 Rover, I hope you're out there. I hope you came back to watch Gamma World. And Dave L, I hope we gave good advice. I hope you salvage any future games. And Danny, welcome to the tribe, buddy. Classic Gamma World, man. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. We'll keep up the good work. As I said, I'll do my best to figure out a way for us to keep playing Gamma World when we go off into the Halloween times to play some Call of Cthulhu. But Call of Cthulhu's fun too. Call of Cthulhu's a good, fun, old school RPG. So fear not.
None of that silliness, Todd. If you happen to play that, okay, because it's a very serious game.
Anyway,
of course, absolutely. I'm always serious in Sword, always.
Everybody else out there who sat in tonight in the audience, thank you all very much. We will be back Monday with some more Ghost Tower of Inverness, maybe some more comic book talk. Maybe this weekend I'll get a chance to read ELFLORD and I can report back on that, but definitely Ghost Tower of Inverness. Tuesday night, guess what? We play AD&D Tuesday night, live stream. That's right here on this channel. Wednesday night, Traveler. We do some Traveler, and that's, I think, most of you guys are actually in Traveler, too. At least some of you all are. Thursday night, I'll be back to talk smack about something. And Friday night, we'll pick up the Gamma World shenanigans. So thank you to my whole YouTube audience. You guys have an absolutely wonderful evening. I love you all. Be well and be good to each other. Peace.